arch. So what we've done is supported the long bone of the femur, right? And now when I engage my piriformis, because the chain is connected, it's going to lift my arch. This is where I need to be. Now let's just go there one step further and lift the toes. Lift the toes right off the ground. Okay. So, good. Now let's make sure the knees are a little tiny bit bent. Okay, my knees aren't straight. This is my knees being straight. That puts my back into hyperextension. It crushes discs. We want to not do that. So I'm going to bend my knees a bit, pull my chin back. This is the beginning of your squat position, so you're hinging here when you squat. So we're going to do a 1/4 inch squat. I mean a quarter squat. You do a 1/4 inch if you need to. The most important part is that you're doing a comfortable squat. So the initiation of the range and the mechanism of movement is important. Your tailbone's going back, and then you're coming back up. You have to, and you're going to hold your core. Let's pull our chin in, get the core all in alignment. So right now the depth of the squat isn't important. What's important is the chain is connected. The knees are pulling out against the tube. We're going to lift and tuck and keep the core working while we go up and down. Now, if you're going to work into a lower squat, you're going to work into something like this, but you don't have to do that now at all, right? In fact, the next part of this is just doing a high chair squat. So pick a stool or a chair and put the blocks up. So if you're having problems, or you're having knee problems, or you can't get off the couch or off the toilet or anything like that without your knee hurting, we need to recondition the knee. You need to recondition the knee for function. So you take a chair, you stack the blocks up so you could just get to this spot where you're comfortable. And then you go up and down from there, and that's going to be your modified squat. Now, this is very important. So this is a moving exercise, and this may irritate your knees or whatever at times, depending on where you're at. So we're going to take you to the wall, do a total body alignment. So just sidle up to the wall here. Put your tailbone out. Your feet have to be at least 1 foot from the wall. So not 6 inches, at least 12 inches. That's not 12 inches. Come away from the wall. Yep. Now, we got to get the butt on the wall, your tailbone in, bend your knees. Yeah, that's good. Lean on the wall. It's there for you. You're going to turn that left knee out. It's collapsing. There you go. You're going to keep control of the legs with your mind. Hold here, tuck this, and we're going to roll the lower back onto the wall. Feel your rib cage on the wall. Feel your shoulders. And we want to pull the chin back so the eyes are level with the floor. Okay? Now, the shoulder girdle from the protraction of life is always falling forward. These muscles tighten, and then we can't come back. This alters joint function in the shoulder. So we're going to tuck the chin, and we're going to, with the power of our mind and our extensor group, glue the torso to the wall. It doesn't matter how far you bend your knees, okay? This is an isometric squat. We're training our quads, we're training our core, we're training the cervical spine, we're training abs, we're pulling back toward the wall. Let's just engage that and breathe. Please take a moment to feel your rib cage, feel your scapula on the wall. Make sure you're at least 1 foot from the wall. The farther you go, the easier it will be to stay on the wall, okay? The gravity is actually helping you with that. Keep cueing into those feet. Now lift your toes. Make sure that you haven't let everything fall apart there. This triangle from your heel to the 2 sides of your foot, across the arch, is where our ambulatory point should be. So you can just test drive sliding down, sliding up. You can put the little Pilates ball behind you when you're doing these exercises at the gym or at home, and that's wonderful. Okay, but let's connect the chain just a bit further. I'll give you a break up here. Just take a pause for a moment. Always when you start to feel things getting achy, that's a time to take a break. Just take a break. Have a breath. What we're going to do is go in, do the same thing. I'm going to talk you through it, then we're going to bring the arms back, and it seems like nothing, okay? We're going to adjust the neck. We're going to bring the neck back, so hopefully we've got only 2 fingers between the neck and the wall. And that's an ideal sort of measurement, okay? And it's not an ideal row. When when you can't have your neck 2 fingers from the wall, it's tension in the anterior structures from all the protracted living that we've been doing. Okay, so we're going to slowly work our way into this better posture for joint health and alignment. Come down into a very comfortable wall sit, push out against the tube, lift your toes. Let's pull the rib cage back so you feel the bottom of the ribs on the wall. Pull the shoulder blades back, tuck the chin, and now finally let's get those elbows back. Thumbs up, and just breathe, okay? Stay there, and I'm just going to check you out here. I want you to tip your tailbone back a little bit. Make sure it's not crunched under. That's right. Keep breathing. I'm sorry. I'm really touching it. Pull that back there. Good job. And then if your cervical spine or you have a thoracic kyphosis, you use a block to make it better for your neck. You don't have to achieve this in one day, or maybe even a 30% correction would be amazing, right? Because when we are able to stop the negative progression away from the midline, then what we're doing is preventing damage. No, it's not. Now just pull your chin back. There, now that you have a better approximated contact point. And then this is good, perfect, it's perfect. Are you good? No, she's like, no. Okay, hold up my gizmo. Yeah, no, it's perfect, it's good, no, you just, no, it's perfect, Kirsten, perfect. Perfect, okay? We need to stop the progression into gravity. So that's your wall sit. That's like the major, start. And I'm going to just quickly invite you to go through the range of motion. I'm going to show you in the video. You can check it out at home. Self-test and corrections, okay? Tuck the elbows in. You're sitting, you're tucking that chin, you lift those toes, elbows back, check your external range of motion. This is telling you how tight your pec is, okay? My right pec is tighter and it's harder for me to get it to the wall, or it remains further from the wall, regardless of where you're at. Keep that chin tucked, head pushed back, relax the arms. Come in or out of the sit, okay? You can just stay here with your knees slightly bent, as long as you've got your ribs on the wall. Back of the hands, shoulders, you're gonna tap in as much as you can. Get those shoulders back. If your lower arm can't make it to the wall, don't waste your time trying to get your fingers back. You're trying to measure a line, so you look at that line. If you're here, that's your sticking point. There are tight muscles in your shoulder, that's why it's stuck there. Bend to 90. Okay, if you're stuck off the wall, it's okay. It's the tight muscles in the front of your shoulder. We're going to resist them internally. We're going to find that sticking point and pull against it. It's an invisible point where your tissues have become contracted, okay? And that's okay. Then we're going to work in that range of motion, up and down, okay? This is most of the test and recovery exercises for standing up. There's one more, okay? I'm going to take these down casually, let them relax for a second. Go through one more, and then you can see how they go into applied exercise therapy. Engage the lower body. Roll up to the midline. Arms right back to the wall, thumbs up position. You'll recognize this in different conditioning exercises. Skim your hips, straighten your arms. Keep your shoulders tapped into the wall. Anchor them into the wall. When you're reaching forward, the arms want to come forward. You're going to drag them right back into the wall. Straighten those arms. Find your ears, okay? It's not a V. We want to get the arms right above the shoulders. Now, if you're stuck here or something, it's a tight lat. Okay, not to worry. This is how we deal with it. We prevent it from getting worse, and we make our corrections here. So if your sticking point is here, here's where you would add your work. Okay, you do a little pulse, or you lie down and do this. This is core stabilization with pelvic stabilization to align and synchronize the hips and shoulders. So let's take it to the floor here. Oh, wait, sorry, not that simple. I'm going to just show you a couple more things before we go. against the wall, but just have your butt there to stabilize you or the back of your hands. You don't have to lean. This is your terrible home exercise sequence for hip conditioning, okay? You got that foot up, you got a stability point or a chair or something. I like to use the wall because I want to be in my midline, and I'm going to lift my leg and lower. 30 on each side. We're not doing 30 today, don't worry. Just see where your range of motion is with that toe jacked right up. Okay, try the other side. Imagine, oh, that was a fast 30. I love that. Okay, there you go. Hip flexor. We want to be able to use the hip independently, hip flexor independently of having the torso move. So if it's dragging your tailbone under, then we have an issue with the rectus femoris being too tight. So we're going to stabilize the core, okay, and use this hip flexor. It's going to shut off the tight muscles in the back. Other one. Again, you might have a chair. I'm going to just use this. I'm going to put my leg on the wall. I'm going to bring myself back to the wall as much as possible. Bend that knee. Okay, 30-degree lift only. I can't see my foot while I'm standing up. If I could see my foot, then it would be in front, and I wouldn't be using my glute medius. I want to use my glute medius. Clearly, this would be easier with the chair. I already did 30. I'm going to the other side. Okay? Simple exercises like this is conditioning. This is an endurance exercise for hip stability. Okay, you can make it more exciting. And then the final one, you can do it freestanding. It's the knee up. Okay, we're going to try to keep our arch lifted. We're going to try to keep our core activated. You do separate. If you have a balance issue, do separate. Then you can switch. You can do doubles, right, as your home practice. Do doubles. And then the most challenging for the balance with all of those exercises is your 1, 2, 3 lift. So for example, 1, 2, 3 lift. Because there's cross stabilization happening in the hip. That's why we do this in classes. And if it was the front leg, 1, 2, 3 lift. Because we have to balance. The whole body has to cross stabilize and balance. And the side lift, just like that. And rhythmicity is a thing with training the nervous system, and that's what we're calling on to make the muscles move, okay? So every time you shift, your body has to stabilize, and so that's why we do that stuff ad infinitum. Coming down to the floor finally. Coming down here. And so, if you're having knee and hip issues, I'm just going to show you on my, oh, they're both bad knees today. Okay, so you can do this lying down. So I'm going to just do it reclined. If you're having a problem where your hip or leg are not functioning properly in a range of motion, you feel like you don't have power from an injury or something, you just slide. Sliding is the key to the success of this operation here. So, you know, this may be with people who have really suffered an injury, hip replacement, or they're very old and they need to really rehabilitate tissue. So we all are going to be in one of those positions sooner or later. So that is like the standing knee raise. The 1, position 2, and position 3. I've got the tube to keep my leg alignment, and I'm going down like this. Now, because I know I'll be sliding down, I'm going to start up toward the top of my mat. And put that tube there. And come down, and you've got that. Now, this is the beginning of the pleasant part of today. I hope. So you lock that little tube right above the kneecap. The place where our patellar tendonitis and knee pain actually starts. Okay, and just going to activate the foot, hold the toe up, put the foot in a flexed position, not pointed, flexed. Okay, so that the muscles are engaged. And just flex and extend. Go ahead and support your head and relax. And take a moment to pay attention to if one side is clicking or popping at all. Now you don't need a tube to do this, you just need something. But whenever we do something bilaterally, symmetrically, it has a more profound effect on the nervous system. I'm going to roll down and put that tube in closer to the belly of the muscle. There's going to be more resistance pattern in there. And then just go through your range of motion. This being the most supportive way to stretch and address quad and hip dysfunction. And if you don't raise your knees, guess what happens to your quads? They get all fibrous. They lose the ability to come up. Okay, so we can either do those knee raise exercises, or we can do, and we should do both. Those. And this is doing static point release or active release. It's static if you stay still, active if you move. I've got the point of greatest contraction held by the noodle, and I am mobilizing the tissue. Let's roll it down a bit so we can find a place where you feel more. So if it's fibrous, you won't feel anything. And if you have trigger points, even a small tube will feel painful. So all this feels like to me is pressure. So let's find a spot where the pressure feels the most profound. I think I'm going to roll up again after I do 6 more of these. And see if I can find another spot a bit higher up. When areas have been contracted for a long time, stretching them with overpressure, which is what we need to do to get movement, that causes tearing, and then there's a resultant spasm effect, and we want to avoid all that by picking a more gentle fascial mobilization route. Okay, so let's get in one more, a little further up the chain there. And, oh, there, I got a spot there. Okay, that's stopping. Flex and extend. Are you feeling that anywhere in the chain, ladies? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, good. Okay. It's not just me. Excellent. Feel free to groan, then I know it's working. Okay. So I'm gonna help you if you don't have the ability to reach your foot. I'm gonna do a proper quad stretch. That's proper because we have a midline. The midline is the floor. Okay, we avoid this midline with our daily posture all the time. And to actually release the lower back, we've got to release these deep long hip flexors, the top of the quad, tensor fascial, iliofemoral. It all kind of connects neurologically. So I'm going to pick my good leg, and I'm going to come up onto my elbows. I can reach my pant leg. I'm going to demonstrate it. I'm going to reach my sock. I'm going to demonstrate it and then help you get a tube involved if you can't reach it. Come back down to the midline. Now, you're in a passive stretch. You're not really adding any extra to it. You're just letting the weight of the situation cause the first level of stretching. The next level here, where we want to decompress the lumbar spine and specifically open that deep hip flexor, what I'm going to do is squeeze my abs so that lumbar curve flattens out, and what I'm doing is initiating my abs against the floor. So far, so good. Now I'm going to squeeze the glute on that side, and that's going to push my femur to the floor, stretching into that hip flexor, and even the joint capsule. Okay, so that is a Now you've gone from a passive stretch to an isometric contraction towards the midline. Okay, that's functionally decompressing your lumbar spine, and that's just what we need to protect our discs and balance that hip out. Have a couple deep breaths. Were you able to get it? Yeah. Okay. All right, so if you were able to get it, go ahead and do the other side, and we're gonna help our friend here. So you can get belts from home, strap, hold that over here, and then put your arm in an ergonomic position so you don't have to wing it. There you go. Now squeeze your abs into the floor, like pull your rib cage. Yes, like you're tucking. Yes, good. And squeeze this glute. Do you feel that more in your hip? No. No? Okay, good. Everybody, good. Let's go. Okay.
I wasn't able to, but just almost felt like I could.
Oh, okay. That's so. And then while we're here, it takes at least a minute and a half for the more fibrous tissues to stretch. So that's why we're going to take another 30 seconds here. Okay, it takes at least a minute and a half for the tendon receptor, the Golgi tendon organ, to reset its resting tension. And that's why we need to do slow stretching, slow stabilized stretching. Squeeze that glute, and squeeze those abs and give it one more round. Okay, super. Slowly decompress the stretch. That means don't fling the leg out, let go of it, and then slowly release it. I'm going to get you to turn onto your back and grab your ball. And if you're at home and you don't have a ball, just get any solid item. I'm going to get this between the knees. And I want to spend just a couple minutes here demonstrating and getting you to experience the other part of pelvic stabilization. When we're walking, our legs are being utilized and hips utilized, and therefore spine rotating alternately. When we connect the chain, we are actually by laterally symmetrically recruiting our muscles, and this allows hips to realign. So even now, we're going to keep the arch leg. Okay, we're going to put the weight in the outside of the foot. Feel your baby toe, feel the outside of the heel. All we're going to do is squeeze the ball. That's position one. Back is flat. We're going to tuck that neck. Let's bring the elbows down into the floor, hands into the floor, stabilize the core. Breathe. Now you're realigning your whole spine and hips at this moment. It doesn't look like we're doing anything, but I know that you're using a significant amount of your internal strength to do that. And if it feels comfortable, to lift those legs off. Now you're doing core stability, tuck that chin, and we are just going to slowly take our legs through whatever range is available comfortably while squeezing the ball, and begin training our hips to work together toward the goal of stabilizing hip function. Okay? You're going to take it slow. It can get complicated. You can add weights. You can do all the other things. But these are the basics for spinal health. Okay? Before we do cross stabilization, we have to be able to actually get our hips to work together. So the other exercise we add to this to prevent stenosis, to prevent disc malalignment, we put feet down, flatten the spine to the point where the tailbone lifts off. If that feels good, we're going to roll up to the shoulders, slide up into the shoulders, tuck those arms in a bit, squeeze that ball, tailbone touches last, is to get the spine and hips all working together. And you're going to include this at the end of your workout for spinal stabilization. Try another rep. If you're at home and you're trying to get your hips and legs to work in a functional movement pattern, you're going to try, if you can do 3 of these a day, you don't have to do long holds. You just roll up, be to a place where you're comfortable the whole time, roll down, work up to 8, and then work up to holding them at the end range, longer and longer. This is one of the best exercises for your lumbar spine. Okay, so now I'm just going to move to the passive sternal wall and the legs close. So here is your first passive challenge, is how close to 90 degrees are our hamstrings going to let us go. Okay, so we consider 90 degrees of flexion functional, range of motion. Okay, so what's happening if it's not 90 degrees? All the other joints are going to be accommodating ambulation, okay, and you're going to start losing your range of motion. So let's point and flex. Now this is a heel raise if you're standing up, so this is a range of motion exercise, and it becomes a conditioning exercise when we are standing. So we're going to do the relaxing variety, just move that muscle and fascia around. Okay, we're going to activate those tight hip flexor areas by simply recruiting full toe to head on one foot at a time. Secure core, tuck your chin, and there's your rep. It's just pulling that to your head. Working in the inner range of the hip flexor is shutting the outer range of the glute and the hamstring down. We rarely ever use this inner range of the hip flexor. Imagine you're standing up and your leg being 90 degrees in front of you. It's almost impossible. When we were standing, we could only get our legs to like 75 degrees. So this is using a range of the muscle that's usually sleeping and or compressed. Try the other side just to see how it feels. Okay, so I'm going to just stick my devices in here to decompress my shoulder, and then an opposite one to do my hip over here. Oh, isn't that wonderful? There we go. So I'm going to get you to just try some positions with your arms. Just take the arms to the side. Okay, while we roll our toes in and out, we're going to give them a gentle pull toward your head. Okay, that's going to just help stabilize all the tissues in your leg. And roll them in and out. We're mobilizing the joint capsule. We're assisting venous return. We're causing a vagal relaxation for the heart when we bring all this blood flow back to the body passively. The heart doesn't have to work as hard. We are decompressing our lumbar spine. We're assisting cerebral spinal flow. It's good to lie down during the day to decompress your spine. It's even better if you can get your feet up in the air. Okay, this is healthy for your whole system. Okay?
For how long?
Oh, if you don't fall asleep, as long as you like. Roll, take a little wider position and roll it in and out.
But how long to be a benefit?
Oh, well, it always takes, minutes. And we're doing mobilization, so the whole series ideally is going to take you 15 minutes, but you just, anytime you can spend up there. Most people spend 10 or 15 minutes. And then wider and wider and keep rolling. It's gonna feel funny when the wider you get in your joint capsule of the hip. It's going to feel funny on the side that's more contracted. If you have a side that you lean on, you're gonna lose voluntary control of that side sooner, or it's gonna feel more stiff. I've got my balls on my trigger point areas, and when it stops feeling weird, I move it to the next area, knowing that there are more than one. Okay. And just take the legs of that next stage wider and roll in and out. Here we're decompressing, mobilizing, joint capsule. And I'm just going to bring it back to the center, doing the same thing. A few reps at each stage. Roll it in, roll it out. Giving those legs and deep muscles of the hip, obturator, internus, and externus, the ability to move and pump fluid and blood in there without being compressed in the field of gravity. Heading back to the midline. Remembering this most important stretch, the figure 4. So gravity assisted, the foot goes there, and we just slide it past the knee. Make sure your ankle is hooked on the outside of your leg, and we're nourishing that deep hip flexor by doing a little pulse of the knee, flying that knee in and out, before we do the overpressure stretch for the glutes. Okay, here, my finished position, my knee goes out, and then I start my figure 4 when I'm trying to keep my knee out in a connected way where I'm not stressing myself out. I come into my stretch by bending the back knee, using gravity, and allowing the stretch to occur with that stretching feeling, not a painful feeling. I would identify that as a powerful feeling, but it's not pain.
Like this is as far out as I can get it.
That's great.
That's okay?
Yeah, it's perfect. Oh, yeah, that's great. Perfect, yeah, absolutely. Slide out. Slide everything slowly up to switch sides. Do the other one. Get that other lateral malleoli, that lateral outside ankle bone outside your leg, and just work on mobilizing the hip gently within its comfortable range of motion, using that hip flexor in a way that, and internal rotator in a way that we never do. Okay? And that's why we lose the function there. So we're just going to take that, wing that knee in and out comfortably. Hold it in the out position. And before I go to that side, I'm going to change my trigger point items. I'm switching to this other side here, and I'm going to roll that leg down. And stretch into the tube or your release item. And just breathe. Mobilize. If you've got that tube lying between your spine and your scapula, just move your scapula around. Use the tube as a static point that you can move those tight fibers around. You're in control of the therapy this way. Sliding out of that one, and last but not least, I'm going to remove my tube, and I'm going to just get my sacroiliac points locked up. It's not good. Use a thicker one. Find the painful spots at the back of your hip. Put the soles of your feet together on the wall, and then just let's slide those down. And just let them sit there. So we want to get the feet together. If the feet are together and your legs stay here, feel what that is, and then release the feet and see if the legs will go farther. And we're going to have a 90-second breathe here, okay? Breathe into those hips and let gravity do the exhalation. And then imagine if you were doing this sitting up, the whole body still has to stabilize if you're sitting up, right? So the hips don't actually get to relax if you're sitting up. But here we use the wall to passively support the stretch. And then you're in there, you're stretching, you can give a little wiggle, a little mobilization for those SIs there. Breathing right into your belly. Tuck the chin. And one last add on here. I'm going to take my fingers, okay? Take my fingers, and I'm going to put them like this under my skull. So the back of my fingers will be together right at the base of my cranium. That's called your subocciput. I'm going to let my arms flop out to the side just like my legs, and look how my fingers are together just like my feet, right in the midline. I'm putting this right at the base of my cranium to release the tight muscles and to open up the pathway of the vagus nerve for deeper relaxation or rebalancing. If we have a lot of cranial pressure, it is very hard for the body to reestablish homeostasis and balance. Still allow your breath to exhale. You work on the inhalation and let gravity do the rest. I'm going to tell you now, when you're turning over in bed and it hurts because you have a minor old injury in your spine, or it seems like it should have healed, or you're getting out of the car and it pinches, or you're going to get off the floor now, you're going to be able to protect your spine from unwanted rotation if you slide your feet up, put your knees together, put your arms together just like your knees. Now this is a closed pack position for your spine. Okay, and we're just going to roll the whole body over like a wedge. And there you are. Now I'm going to just push myself up on one side and tabletop position. This is a self-recovery, self-rescue position. You're injured, you're on the floor. You put the injured side, you keep that down, you put the good side up and put your hand on it. Curl that back toe under. Hand parallel to foot, and all you need to do now is